everyone. It's Rachelle. So guys, fall is here. The air is getting crisper. Maybe we're pulling out some of our flannels or our sweaters. The pumpkin lattes are in full effect at the coffee shops. Trees are starting to show the good fruit that hopefully they will bear this season. I know for us, we have a small garden in our backyard, which I have to say I could take no credit. It is all my husband and my daughter. They are the master gardeners. But this year they decided to plant some watermelon. And it is the coolest thing to see these little tiny nothing of watermelon start to get a little bit bigger and bigger. When I think of the harvest season, I always think of various scriptures when it talks about bearing good fruit and how it always kind of relates to spiritual side of bearing good fruit. And I think about the different ones in my life. There's been teachers from a young age throughout teenage years that have invested in my life, that have made an impact in my life. There have been pastors, there have been friends and family members, and different ones that have sown seeds into my life. Some of them were able to see the fruit right away. Others were not able to see that because maybe I had a tougher exterior at that point. And wasn't willing to show any good fruit. But what they sowed did not go void. And I'm so grateful that they used their gifts and that they used just the love to want to invest in my life and to give of themselves. And I just have so much to be grateful for those that invested in my life. And hopefully good fruit is coming of it. I think of the Apostle Paul, who is no stranger to investing in people's lives. He went around and traveled to a lot of different locations, and he shared the gospel of good news, and he prayed over people and there would be healing, and he just poured out himself often. And many times he was met with an unresponsive group. Some were hostile, some were not wanting to hear him whatsoever. Others were very receptive to the gospel of good news, and they became very dear to him. One of the churches, the church in Thessalonica, had a little tongue twist there, they were very, very dear to Paul's heart. He only spent a short amount of time there, and he really didn't see the fruit. He didn't know what became of that church until a little while later when Timothy came back and reported to Paul the good things that had happened, that the seeds that were sown took root, and that this church was growing, that they were spiritually growing, and that they were falling more in love with Jesus. And they had a lot of questions for him because they wanted to understand what it meant to be a follower of Christ. And so in 1st and 2nd Thessalonians is where you'll find the Apostle Paul kind of sharing with them some of the questions that they had. He's kind of answering. One of the things that he had said in 1st Thessalonians, which of course I've now lost my place. One of the things he had said was in 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 7. This is the Apostle Paul speaking to the church in Thessalonica. But we were gentle among you, like a mother caring for her little children. We loved you so much that we were delighted to share with you not only the gospel of God, but our lives as well. I love this part because the Apostle Paul didn't just go and preach and leave. It actually says that he cared for them like a mother cares for a little child. It says that he poured out his life. He shared life with them. He genuinely wanted to see spiritual growth. And not just that he can just mark it on his list of numbers of converts that he had. He genuinely wanted to see people's lives changed and their hearts turned towards Jesus. And out of that, he cared for them like a mother cares for her little children. And a mom cares for her little children by giving them good food, by making sure that they're well provided for, by loving on them. And there's lots of ways that moms care for their little children. But I love the way that the Apostle Paul kind of links that together with this church. And he was saying, you're not just a number, basically is what he's saying, but you're somebody that I care very deeply about. And when he got wind that they were doing so well, it just made his heart so full. So I stopped and I thought, who has been in my life that has really cared for me the way that a mother cares for a little child? Who has poured out themselves and has shared their life with me? And I just wanted to encourage you today to ask yourself that question. Is there somebody in your life or many people in your life that has invested in you? Maybe they haven't seen the fruit because maybe they were there for just a short time and that was many years ago. Maybe they have seen the fruit because they're still in your life now. But I want you to take the time today, if you would, to pray and thank God. Thank him. Thank him for the people that he has put along in your path that has led you to be a follower of Christ, that has brought you into a place of spiritual maturity. And we are all growing in our maturity, that we're continuing to grow. God is continuing to bring people into our path. But would you take some time today to thank God for the ones that he has put in your path? And maybe God would put on your heart some people that you are to be in their path, that you are to invest in their lives as well, and to love on them, and to bless them with the gifts that God has given you, whether it's through a gift of hospitality, whether you are a teacher or a pastor or an accountant or whatever it is that you might be, that you would use the gifts that God has given you in order to invest in people and see lives change. It's harvest season, and the harvest is plentiful. So let's be a worker that works unto the Lord to see the gospel of the good news take root in people's hearts and come alive and bear good fruit. God bless you.